Hey guys, welcome to CCG. It's Carlos here.
And Mario.
And what we got here is we have my Black Krillin playing against a Red Ruthless Broly that we put together. You'll notice that there is exactly one proxy. It's something that we don't like to do a whole lot. We try to play with the cards that we have, but since we are kind of testing the waters on this, that's what we're doing with. You'll see it later. So here, Mario opens up with Broly's power and showing 2 to bench top card. And I hit him with a defensive burst. Immediately.
This combat was terrible. I hate defensive burst, and that card is amazing. Every black deck needs to run it, especially in this super intense physical meta. The fact that it hits for life, the fact that it just shuts off physicals is just great. That card is great.
You basically just play it, and your opponent is left there with dead cards. Here I remind him. Yep, you can't do that.
Yeah. Because I forget. I'm like, oh, well, I can't hit him, but no, it's not even that. You just can't perform it.
Playful Punch. Now, it's a good card. There's no argument about that. But playing this matchup just reminded me of how good this card really is.
Yeah.
This card comes in so clutch.
I hate that card. I hate that card unless I'm using it.
Yeah, exactly. You played Orange Yamcha for how long?
Oh, yeah.
With 3 copies?
Especially in Yamcha. So then you just see, you just do nothing.
Krillin's power, 5 life.
I got fortunate enough to get a red static shot, which that card is pretty great on its own, regardless of what mastery or what MP you're using. It's such a
good card.
It's gonna create,
and it gets blocked, and you can see that
it's frustration building on frustration.
That extreme disapproval there.
Yeah.
Of like, really. And then we end combat. Passes over to me.
It was the problem with Krillin. I know what's in his deck, but I try to play as if I don't know what's in his deck. So, I see Krillin, I see black, and then I think of the typical black Krillin. It's very slow, very passive, try not to do anything. So that's why I'm like, okay, immediately let's enter. Let's put some hurting on the stages. Put some pressure on.
Rejuve teamwork.
Yeah. But clearly it did. It's not gonna work out in your favor if you see defensive burst. That first combat pretty much highlights the entire game.
Opening stare down. Yeah. Always a fun move. So I've got teamwork, playful punch. Go figure. Ball 7 and one other card. Oh, black capture.
Yeah.
And I think you get rid of the playful punch.
Because I hate that card. The problem with it's that you don't pay any stages for it, and you gain 5 stages for it, and then the fact that it hits for life and the anger control. It's such a great utility card.
Yeah. Starting off with Krillin's power.
Yeah. Which is a wise move,
It's always a good out just in case you need to mastery, lower their anger with the crit,
Right. So here you see the Broly power.
Yep.
Which Broly's power, it puts in so much work. Just the banishing. You just start picking the deck apart.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention those flat stages.
Yeah.
I mean, against an MP like Krillin or Yamcha, I mean, it's okay, but against bigger MPs, like another Broly deck or...
So here you see Carlos uses his Black Mastery, and I ditched Tandem Attack, which Tandem Attack is awesome in the Black matchup because of that. Because they can Black Mastery and then they think they're safe, but they're really not because you just ripped into another card. So, an Eraser Cannon. It's another great card.
Great card. But I love the fact that it does not get any buffs from either the Mastery or Broly himself.
They had to balance it.
Yeah.
They had to balance it.
I mean, especially when one of your name cards has Endurance 10 on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which...
It's a solid 6 damage. Can be endured because he does have cards in his hand. But, it's always good to put that much out.
One thing about this Krillin deck that you do see is that there is no problem when your opponent enters in on you.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Apparently, this grade was phenomenal Like, this game was phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever draw like that again.
Well, if you do, just know that you could do some serious damage.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I mean, to be honest, just being able to hold your own against such a strong MP with a lot of physical damage, it's tough for a little guy.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't get any higher than B.
The great thing, though, is the fact that I think all attacks hit for life.
Yeah.
Which is
just about every... Actually, I think every attack I have in this Krillin deck hits for life.
Which is,
I think, because
great.
There's really just no reason not to.
Yeah. And it's so great. And
card.
if you look at...
And here comes Ball 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ball 7. It's great and it's terrible because unless you're Namekian and you keep only Ball 7, it gets passed around way too easily. So I put 2 upward dodges. And there it is.
3.
All 3.
All 3 of them. I think he cheated. I want to call the judge, but all 3 Broly face crushers. So I was not happy. I was not happy. And very upset right now. I just lost 33 endurance. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't think... I mean, that's just bad luck. That's just bad luck.
Yeah, it really is.
There's no other way. Ball 7, very awkward. Especially when your opponent plays it and then passes. Because you know what's in their hand.
Here I VTP.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to because I had put 2 blocks on the top of my deck, and he knew that I put 2 blocks. So what I needed to do is needed to have another offensive option so that he doesn't basically just sit there and pass on me. Because that's the other issue. If you defensively use Ball 7... to prepare for a defensive hand, your opponent can just easily
enter a pass.
And
pass.
I
was actually thinking about doing that. Which I think you VTP'd for double team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or no, not double team. Teamwork. Isn't
or
it?
Teamwork. I think it's black double team, but
it might be. I don't remember the name now.
Which I was like.
So opens with the mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So use face crusher.
Yep.
3 really good options.
3. Yep.
Really, really strong options.
It's a red aerial kick.
With aerial kick with Broly is just that's the card, man.
I was even thinking about entering and then passing. You know.
I had to block that one or I'd let him level, and that's not a fun time for anybody.
Yeah.
So here I used the defensive burst I put on the top. I was expecting a block, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, you always gotta test it out because they either block it or you waste their time. It's one of the two.
Yep. Which I was not sure whether I should have just kept passing, but
here I block again.
Yeah.
And set up for Krillin's attack for... Was it Krillin's attack that I used here or capture?
I think it was capture, yeah.
So that's, what, 10 life? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That's 10 life and a stage.
So you just 10. Which, I mean, in any deck is hard, but I mean, fortunate enough to just get 5.
Yeah, there was some good endurance there. So I was still able to crit. It hits, you know.
So after he puts capture, then I'm like, okay, well, both blocks are out of his hand. So is defensive burst.
Yeah,
you might as
he
well.
uses Broly's power.
So here I gain 1 for the red aerial kick, or aerial knee, right?
Assault.
Or aerial assault, there you go. For revealing 2 cards, and then 1 for Broly, so I level. So ended up alright.
So it comes out to 4 stages.
Yep. And I was like, okay, well, 6. No, 4, because at ball 6.
But at this point, I only have 1 card left in hand. Now he uses Broly's power.
For disc, banish the disc from the top of the life deck.
Which, I mean, I guess it's good considering the fact that you ended up losing 3 face crushers to Ball 7. I can't complain about losing a disc.
1 disc, yeah. Just one. Just one.
I mean, it's banished. It's gone for good.
It's gone. Yeah, you're right. It's gone for good. Well, I mean, in red, any other style except for Namekian, if a card hits a discard pile, unless you have VTP.
Or cooler.
Then you're kind of, gone for good too, but...
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And here I hit absolutely no endurance until the end. It's hilarious. Literally, right until the end.
Right. And that card is great.
And there goes capture.
That
did
card
absolutely nothing except for that first hit.
Right. That card is great because that card is...
And here he captures Ball 7.
Yep. Which is you calculate damage, critical damage, right? Then it's critical damage effect, then hit effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because after the damage is numbered,
right,
you figure out whether or not it's critical, you solve any critical damage effects, then hit effects. So here he's setting up to just go go ridiculous. He's setting up an aerial assault. He's got red double team,
right,
double strike,
right, yeah,
double strike. Yeah, that's the one. And unleashed.
Unleashed, yeah. Which unleashed unleashes the other. It's a proxy card.
Yeah.
Unleashed in this build is pretty great because you really want to be on 3 or 4. Particularly 4, just to put the nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
And unleash just lets you get there from the start of the game.
Yeah. Luckily, one of the cards that got destroyed with Ball 7 was DB1. So
he replaced it.
Yeah, I only really lost 2 cards out of it.
And then here I'm using the hit mechanic on that attack to search his discard pile for
unvaulted
was it
kick.
4? Yeah.
Yeah.
That card is just really great.
And here he forgot that I had another attack. So here's another black double team for 6 life. And I know the top 3 don't have any endurance. That's why he just goes through them really quick. Awesome. And I crit Ball 7 back.
Yep. Which ended up... I mean, you gotta hate when that happens.
You really do. It is the worst thing to happen. The proxy there is the other unleashed.
Yeah. So technically, you're not supposed to do what I just did, which is mill the top 3, but...
Either way, I honestly didn't see them until...
Yeah, he was...
I was too focused on planning out the next hand. So, I put double team... black power up and black searching technique. I figured if he hit me, then at least I have a little bit of endurance.
Yeah.
But I was counting on him not attacking, to not lose any hand advantage he might have. So here I'm able to put down 2 setups. PUR. I missed the PUR incorrectly. I fixed it in a few.
Yeah. And then you want to combat in, but,
Yeah. Here I realized that I put the wrong PUR. So I said it correctly. Mario said it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a casual game.
Yeah. Then I PUR back. And then put down racing drill. Try to decide what to keep. So I get rid of scouting and double team.
And in these casual games that we were saying, it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, this is where you want to make the mistakes so you can figure out what misplays.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say 2 turns later, oh, I forgot to do this.
Yeah. Try to stay as consistent as possible.
So I block it, banish 3 cards from his discard pile. Speaking of misplays, one's about to happen now.
I mean, hey.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is where you want to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
Because when you're at a, like a little local event or, a bigger event, you kind of want to tighten up your game as you go.
Yeah. To be honest, I forgot I was playing Ruthless. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when you play against Broly and you're Krillin, sometimes all you see is just the Broly. You forget what's going on behind him.
Which,
Here I banished 2 Face Crushers and Time.
right.
Just in case he captures Ball 7 back, I don't want him putting,
Right.
22, damage.
It's a great pick.
So what I do is I Krillin's attack, which, it's not a bad move, but again, I forgot that I was playing Broly, and Broly uses his power to banish it. Uses it here, banishes top card, reveals 2 attacks, which, wow, I completely forgot you showed me those 2. I didn't realize that you had 2.
Yeah.
Wow. It's all good.
And a defensive burst. The small victories, you have to take them as they come. But yeah, like we were saying, right now is these, friendly matches or local events. That's where you want to make the mistakes. And right now, what I'm trying to do is figure out playstyle. So playing hyper aggressive, see how that works out. In this particular matchup, it didn't. I'm coming into the match. I was just thinking, whether it's a good hand or a mediocre hand, just combat.
Here I'm counting out how many stages it would be, trying to see if it's worth cutting my losses, but it was almost all the stages that I had, so I went ahead, finger blocked, gained some stages back.
Right. And a very common mistake I started to realize, as I was playing the game, was picking ball 7 when you crit. You're not gonna crit. I mean, you're not gonna crit often, but in this particular situation, you'd want to take ball 6 over 7, because ball 6 is really saving him from damage, even if it's just the 2 stages. The 2 stages helps.
2 stages can mean a lot.
Yeah, and if you crit one time, I mean, you can always count on him being able to mastery power to use Krillin's.
All it takes is Krillin's attack plus the mastery to crit it back.
To crit whatever ball back. So if you double crit, then he's kind of forced to take the ball 6 the first time, and then you can take ball 7 the second time. Then he's kind of stuck unless he has an attack.
I take the second double strike because I'm able to gain my stages back with Playful Punch. Unfortunately, the red sword stab absorbed all of the damage.
Yeah, it was exactly 4.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't have just taken one more, but no. And so I was actually expecting him to mastery for double strike.
And I thought about it. That would have been safer, but I figured he's not gonna have the energy block, especially if he energy blocked 1 card already.
So I go ahead, reflex it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I didn't remember that he had a second one in there, but I was then counting on him mastering for it. So I figured, I'll make him work for it at least a little bit.
Right.
Then he hits me with another one. So it's just 5 straight to the head, no questions asked. Unendurable.
Yeah, it's gonna
He takes
level.
ball 7.
Yep. And I was super excited because I was like, great. I'm going to finally get to,
So, again, talking about carefully picking future hands.
Yeah. The ball 7 is so great.
It is really good. Especially if you're playing against an opponent that's a defensive opponent, like a Krillin or a Yamcha or a Roshi or a 20. You can build a strong, aggressive hand and count on your opponent passing. That's not always going to be the case, but that is a somewhat safe assumption to make. The safe play is to pick 2 really good cards on the off chance, and 1 card that you'd be able to do to just kind of set up a little bit, if you need to, or something that you'd be able to throw away without feeling bad about.
Right. Which, I play Namekian style. That's where I'm really comfortable at. Here you see me pick the 3, but then I'm thinking about it, and I end up changing my mind. I'm pretty sure. And picking another card. But Namekian style ball 7 is just so great. Because there's so many different ways of bouncing it in and out and looping it and searching it that you can really abuse it. We were playing, it was me and Tony playing, it was Piccolo against Broly, and a ball 7 loop with time kept me in that game, and then I ended up Dragon Ball Victory. It was crazy. I mean, it was extremely difficult and full of pressure, and you had to be really patient. But ball 7 easily won me that game. because I was able to just stall out. But
Alright, so here we go.
so now I'm thinking, okay, I stack that hand. I don't need a block because he's probably gonna pass, probably generate some hand advantage, right? And
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Which it wouldn't. It
Not
wouldn't
in my
be,
favor, at least.
you know.
But I actually happen to draw pretty well, so I enter in.
So
He's not expecting this at all.
yes,
And defensive burst.
And defensive burst.
Without a block in his hand.
And defensive burst
That's
ended
it.
the game the same way it started, which was terrible. Terrible.
Just stopping your combat
Right.
altogether.
And you pretty much just sit there. He
That's
knows
it.
what's in my hand.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing
know it.
to do, so you just sit there and, wait.
I just kind of sit there. He passes.
And then
And
I think it
Krillin's
was
attack for 5 life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
And just sit there.
Yeah.
And
then
disc.
disc for game.
Nail in the hammer. It was. I didn't even want to shake his hand.
Nail in the coffin,
Or
maybe.
nail in the coffin. Sorry.
It was a good game. I honestly we were
Good
talking
game for who?
for
you?
me. Yeah, of course.
God,
we were talking about it actually before the game even started about how Krillin was just gonna have a really bad time against Broly because of the hyper aggressiveness with the the physical attacks, and then Krillin just comes in and bodies Broly.
Yeah, Tony said that best.
Just at every opportunity, life.
It's hard to deal with it.
It is, and it's great. The best thing about what we do here at CCG is we help each other build our decks to the best possible versions.
Right.
And every one of these decks has been through so many revisions that none of these decks are ever like they were like a month ago.
Yeah. And I mean, Krillin is refined and groomed, and and it's I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's in shape to handle these kinds of physical matchups. So
Yeah.
this match really highlighted how Krillin can control that game, and set that game in his favor when he's at a mismatch. And that Broly deck is it's still in early testing, so there were some things to highlight in this match that Broly did well, but some things that need to go back and be revised and changed, and that's the fun part about this game.
Oh no, I think it was a good game, and
For you.
but it helps both of us learn, that there are Krillin decks that are super control. There are Krillin decks that are massively aggro. Then there's Krillin decks that can control the game and just swing for life. They don't do anything else. Are those your stages? You can keep them. I don't want them.
And that's probably one of the best things that control decks. If you're making a control deck, have it do that.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
Your options for damage need to be life. They should not be stages.
Yeah, whenever you do hit, you need to hit and get straight to the point. Because if you flirt around with the stages and you're kind of poking some damage, but it's really not the same as putting direct pressure on the life.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I think we can wrap it up here. So anyway, guys, again, it was me, Carlos.
And me, Mario.
And thanks for watching. Stay tuned and find out what happens next time on CCG.